do? Shoot me in the elevator?
Good day and good night. Welcome back to the High-Low Retrospective, the place where we rewind and rewatch the movies, the shows, the sounds, and the cultural moments that made us who we are. Before hip-hop dominated streaming charts, before it powered billion-dollar brands, before rappers were headlining Super Bowl halftime shows, hip-hop had to fight for space on the big screen. And in the 1990s, something rare happened. Hollywood didn't just license rap music, it trusted it. It let hip-hop score films, shape characters, define moods, and tell stories that hadn't been told before, stories from the inside. This one's about when hip-hop hit the big screen and how it reshaped 90s cinema and why Hollywood eventually walked away from it.
For the same reason that there's a liquor store on almost every corner in the black community. Why? They want us to kill ourselves.
In the late 1980s, Hollywood understood movies as formulas. Big stars, clear heroes and villains, rock anthems, power ballads, polished R&B. What it didn't understand was hip-hop. Rap music was already selling millions of records, but studios saw it as unstable, too regional, too political, too tied to black urban life to safely anchor mainstream films. Hip-hop wasn't treated as a language, it was treated as a risk. When rap showed up on screen, it was usually contained. A novelty moment, a breakdancing sequence, a needle drop that hinted at culture without surrendering control to it. Films like Beat Street and Crush Groove introduced hip-hop visually, but framed it as a trend, not a worldview. There were exceptions. In 1989, Do the Right Thing cracked the surface. Spike Lee didn't just use hip-hop, he centered it. Public Enemy's Fight the Power wasn't background music, it was ideology. The film proved that hip-hop could carry political weight, cultural urgency, and cinematic ambition, but it was treated as an exception, not a template. Behind the scenes, executives were still cautious. Stories rooted in black neighborhoods were expected to either soften themselves for mass appeal or disappear altogether. The idea that hip-hop could consistently carry drama, not just provoke conversation, hadn't been proven yet. But culture doesn't wait for permission. By the end of the decade, the streets were already shaping the sound, the fashion, and the attitude of a generation. Hip-hop wasn't asking to be included, it was forcing itself into relevance. Hollywood just needed proof. And in 1991, it got it. That proof was New Jack City.
Just for the city, living, just enough.
Before hip-hop was fully trusted to carry drama, New Jack City showed Hollywood what was possible. Directed by Mario Van Peebles, the film was released in 1991, right at the edge of the transition. It still carried traces of 80s crime cinema, but its soul belonged to hip-hop. The cast told the story on its own. Wesley Snipes brought menace and charisma.
So, see ya, and I wouldn't want to be here.
Ice-T grounded the film in street realism. Chris Rock, in one of his first dramatic roles, delivered a performance so raw, it shocked audiences who only knew him as a comedian. And then there was the sound. The soundtrack blended Guy, Ice-T, Queen Latifah, Color Me Bad, and others, a fusion of hip-hop and New Jack Swing that mirrored the era itself. The music didn't sit behind the film, it moved with it. Made for an estimated $8 million, New Jack City earned over $47 million at the box office, proving, before Boys in the Hood fully cracked the door open, that films rooted in black urban reality could draw mainstream audiences. What New Jack City represented wasn't full trust yet, but momentum. Hip-hop wasn't a novelty anymore. It was a force Hollywood was learning it couldn't control, only follow.
Turn your punk ass over.
When John Singleton released Boys in the Hood, he wasn't just directing a movie, he was issuing a warning. At 23 years old, Singleton brought South Central LA to the mainstream with an honesty Hollywood had avoided. Made on a modest budget of roughly $6.5 million, the film went on to earn nearly $57 million worldwide. An extraordinary return for a debut director telling a deeply specific black story, and hip-hop wasn't decoration, it was context. Ice Cube didn't just appear in the film, he embodied its tension. The soundtrack blended rap with soul, mirroring the film's emotional range. This wasn't background music, this was the sound of survival. The film earned Academy Award nominations and forced Hollywood to acknowledge something it had long ignored. Hip-hop rooted stories could be powerful and profitable.
Hey man, it's nice to see you, man. Yeah, pardon me for a second. I'm about to rob this place.
All right, everybody, put your hands in the air. Oh, take your fucking clothes off. Hurry up. God damn it, 'cause you look good.
If Boys in the Hood introduced the moment, Juice defined its danger. Directed by Ernest Dickerson, the film gave Tupac Shakur his breakout role as Bishop, a performance so intense it permanently altered how rap artists were viewed as actors.
And you less of a man than me, so soon as I decide that you ain't gonna be
Produced for about $5 million, Juice earned around $20 million domestically, quietly profitable by studio standards, but its true legacy lived in sound.
In the puddle of blood, I lay close to the edge. I guess I didn't know the ledge.
Eric B. and Rakim's Know the Ledge didn't just accompany the film, it haunted it. The beat, the bars, the menace, the song felt like a character itself. Hip-hop wasn't supporting the story anymore, it was telling it.
Punk ass, come on.
The Hughes brothers pushed things further. Menace to Society stripped away hope and left audiences staring directly at consequence. There was no moral bow, no Hollywood polish. Shot for an estimated $3 million, Menace to Society earned over $27 million at the box office, nearly 9 times its budget, despite controversy, protests, and public concern over its violence. MC8 didn't just star in the film, his voice and presence shaped its tone. The soundtrack sounded like the streets it portrayed. Even behind the scenes, the tension mirrored the screen. Tupac was fired from the film after a violent altercation with one of the Hughes brothers, a reminder that the line between art and reality was thin and often dangerous. Hip-hop wasn't pretending anymore, it was confronting. Then came Above the Rim, and with it, a turning point. The film featured Tupac again and earned a modest $16 million on a $6 million budget. Respectable, but not explosive. And the soundtrack, that was another story.
Couldn't nobody diss my homie for all the brothers locked up and lonely for all the little liquor.
Now they dropping and yelling, it's a tad bit late. Nate Dogg and Warren G had to regulate.
Released by Death Row Records, the album went double platinum. Warren G, Nate Dogg, Lady of Rage, The Dog Pound, the soundtrack outperformed the movie. The message was unmistakable. Sometimes the music was bigger than the movie meant to contain it.
You got knocked the out.
And then Ice Cube flipped the formula. Friday proved that hip-hop stories didn't have to be tragic to be authentic. Filmed in a real Los Angeles neighborhood with real gang approval, the movie was warm, funny, and deeply human. Chris Tucker was paid barely anything. Ice Cube wrote, starred, and reshaped his image. Produced for just $3.5 million, Friday earned an approximate $28 million at the box office, largely through word of mouth. The soundtrack went platinum, featuring Dr. Dre, Cypress Hill, Scarface, music that matched the film's everyday realism. The soundtrack didn't scream, it vibed. This was hip-hop showing range, laughter, community, everyday life. And audiences, they responded.
Stop! Come over here with that attitude, girl.
In the 90s, soundtracks became cultural events. Juice, Menace to Society, Above the Rim, New Jack City, Waiting to Exhale. Albums went gold, platinum, double platinum. Soundtrack albums routinely outsold expectations and sometimes eclipsed the films themselves. Producers like DJ Premier, Warren G, and later RZA, they brought sampling, rhythm, and street sensibility into cinematic scoring. Music no longer underscored scenes, it authored them. Soundtracks became time capsules, documents of how a place felt, not just how it looked. Now, this era didn't just produce films, it produced icons. Tupac became a cinematic force. Ice Cube transformed into a writer-producer. Queen Latifah crossed genres and glass ceilings. Method Man, Redman, Snoop Dogg, rappers proved they could command the screen. Hip-hop expanded beyond the booth, and for a moment, it felt like Hollywood had finally opened the door. And then, it stopped. By the late 90s, studios changed. Corporate consolidation reduced risk tolerance, global box office demands flattened specificity, soundtrack sales collapsed in the wake of Napster, the early file-sharing platform that broke the music industry's business model by making albums free and instant, wiping out a revenue stream studios had come to rely on almost overnight. Hip-hop-rooted films were labeled too urban, too specific, too risky. Instead of evolving the genre, Hollywood abandoned hip-hop. What replaced it were safer alternatives, dance movies, watered-down comedies, rapper-led action flicks that used hip-hop faces but not hip-hop truth. The cost was real. Directors lost pipelines, stories went untold, soundtracks stopped mattering. But hip-hop didn't disappear. It migrated. Television became the new home. The Wire, Snowfall, Power, Atlanta, Wu-Tang, and American Saga. TV gave hip-hop the long-form storytelling cinema no longer would. The irony is this: Hollywood took hip-hop away from the big screen just as hip-hop became the most influential cultural force in the world. The films of the 90s weren't a trend, they were a blueprint. And today, we're still living in their shadow. So that's the high and low retrospective on the moment hip-hop hit the big screen. When rap didn't just score movies, it became the movie. When soundtracks told stories, when directors trusted the culture, when audiences felt seen. Thanks for watching this one. Like, comment, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the movies, the music, the shows, and the moments that made us who we are. Until next time, stay critical, stay nostalgic, and remember,
Playing with my money is like playing with my emotions. Wow.